Hello again, and welcome to another podcast. I'm going to take you on a nice evening dog walk with my dog Patch. It's a bit quieter now. It's about 7:30 at night here in Scotland, and I've just finished a day back at work, my day job. And in this session, I'd like to talk about the experience of awakening whilst still living through our busy human lives. And so we'll start with the story of the ascended master or guru who reaches perfect spiritual alignment and enlightenment, and they do so by living on a mountaintop hundreds of miles away from any other human, and they, in their isolation, achieve every possible highest aspect of their spiritual development through their lifetime. However, after many years of being isolated, they then come down the mountain and they enter the human world. They go into a city, and within 10 minutes they are very stressed out and they're getting annoyed at everyone around them, and they're finding it very difficult to retain their Zen-like state. And so in that journey, what's really interesting is that it shows us those examples of where you can, in isolation, achieve so much, but at the same time, when you try and integrate and live out your life with every other human around you, that it is also very challenging. And in many respects, our human journey is the most challenging aspect of our spiritual journey. And so I wanted to talk today a bit about my experiences so far, and to explain a bit about my context. I have a full-time day job, and I work in a large corporate company, and I've had a career for 20 plus years in computers, and so that journey for me has been very exciting. It's been very rewarding, and there's lots of parts of me that loves the creation and invention aspects of the role. Building software, building hardware, building systems that help other people do things quicker or in a more fair or sustainable manner. And when I compare that to my other passions, certainly my music and doing meditations and darkness healing and clearing sessions, they are very different experiences. And I wanted to share today I just saw a big flash in the sky. I think it was a plane. So I wanted to share the experience of being away on holiday, and I was off last week. We were off for a week in a nice cottage in the northeast of England. It was a seaside cottage, and so it rained quite a lot, but we, as a family, we sat there and just enjoyed ourselves. And we played games, and we went out and ate and had long dog walks. So it's a very calming experience, and it allowed me to focus on the music, to focus on my family, and really to focus on relaxing and taking care of myself. And then today came back to my busy day job, and what I find a really interesting challenge is, first of all, doing a day job is really interesting because it's important to think carefully about every aspect of your your day, where you focus your energy, and finding alignment in everything you do. Following your intuition, your discernment is really important. And for me, I don't know what my long-term career holds, but what I do know is that I continue to follow the right things for me and at the right time. So, for example, I've found in this journey that the things I often fear are the things that are good for me, and so one of my fears is probably around confrontation with others. I also have fears around kind of lack mentality or self-doubt. And what I found is when I got back to my day job today, I had hundreds of emails to catch up on, and I'd missed lots of work from last week. And when I caught up with my team, I realised that there was some things that happened that I think could have perhaps gone better. Come on, Patch. Come on. Come on. So, where things could have gone better, I just feel emotionally make me feel bad about them. I just feel like, I could have done a better job before I went on holiday. I could have, I take it personally, and it's very much a human emotion, right? Like we care about what we do, and that's a great thing. And when we make mistakes, we feel really bad, and it really stressed me out through the course of the day. And I felt like towards the end that I didn't quite feel the same as I did first thing in the morning, where I was I felt super kind of high vibration after meditating or writing a song. And I don't, in part this podcast is to share that human feeling, and to just say, look, I go through this. I want to share that I'm not all love and light. I have my weaknesses and my areas of growth, just like everybody. And it's very difficult to be calm and in a zen-like state in the chaos of our 3D lives. So much of what others are taught around us is to kind of, there's always this fast pace of work. Many of us are taught in our careers and in our day jobs, to run faster. Don't stop and think about what you're doing so much. Just keep delivering, keep building, keep whatever it is you do in your job. And it's really important to find the right ways of balancing your life, balance the chaos, calm the chaos, and being the calm in the chaos for others. So some of the tips and tools that I use, they include things like I definitely take regular breaks. One thing I do is because I have an office desk at the moment, it's a home office, I'll tend to do things like I'll usually in the morning, about mid-morning, I'll do some stretching. I'm on a very long but fulfilling journey to learn how to handstand, and so I do stretches for to continue to stretch my my calves and my leg ligaments, so that when I started I wasn't anywhere near touching my toes, and now I can do that easily, but I can't put my hands flat on the ground yet. That's something I'm working on, so I find that stretching really good. Also just the movement, moving around and being able to really go with work, that movement helps your work energy. So I kind of feel like when you're sat in one place or in one position, the energies that you create and that you receive just sit with you. They sit on you, and they sit on your kind of your physical form and the aura around you. And so it really helps to moving out of that space visibly helps. And then also doing things like yoga, Pilates, stretching, dancing. Dance is amazing. These things are really, really helpful because they help, release that energy, get your energies moving up and down through your chakras, and then also help you on this journey of raising your vibrations. And I love that that effect that dancing gives you as well. That's really cool. And the other thing, so I do that usually in the morning, and then the other thing I do in the afternoons is I'll do, I have some bands, like exercise bands. They're really good, and some stretching. Usually for me it's about my back and stretching the muscles there. So that's one thing to do. The other is where I have, and that's only for a few minutes, but it makes such a huge difference. The other thing I do is I always do a walk in nature. This is my third walk today. I did before and then at lunch and then after work. And just nature, I love just pausing. My dog Patch, he's not neutered, so he stops and marks his territory constantly, and it's great because you just take time to appreciate the trees around you. I live near a lot of wooded areas, so taking time looking at the trees, it's often really helpful to stand and just put your hand on a tree. Sometimes if I'm feeling self-conscious about hugging a tree or putting my hand on a tree, I just stand and lean against it, and I put my hands on it, and it's great for grounding, but it's also great for just being able to communicate with a tree. Your tree doesn't care about the deadline, the stress, who said what, whatever it is that's going on in your day that's stressing you out. And so that's really helpful. And another thing I do is, working with intuition, which has been a journey for me probably in the last 6 months. I have a number of crystals on my desk, and I find those really useful. I'm on video conference calls, so you can't really see me holding them. But when I'm listening to what someone's telling me, and often I'm asked to make decisions or offer guidance, and so while they're talking to me, I'll hold a crystal and I'm kind of putting the questions that they're asking into the crystal, and then letting that energy come back with the right answer. Come on, Patch. And what's really enjoyable about that is that it helps you, physically interact with something that you feel is listening and is going to give you some sort of answer. And then there's also the other aspect of it that, pausing and taking this conscious step out of the kind of rat race of your busy day job, taking time to say, well, look, I am listening to my heart, I'm listening to my intuition as I do this. And it gives you a sense of, I guess, just balance and reflection, even in the busiest of days. And I also enjoy just trying new ways of keeping calm, and a big thing is often breathing. I have little mantras, in the things that I do. So if I want, if I'm going through a very busy time and I know this is coming up, I'll write down and kind of repeat or repeatedly write down some small phrases. A recent one I've been using is just breathe, and it reminds me to take 3 deep breaths. It's the same pattern that I use for starting meditations. And when I take those 3 deep breaths in through the nose and fill my belly, hold it, and then exhale all the stress, if I do that 3 times, it has this very calming effect on me. I feel like it's the kind of early stages of that kind of self-hypnosis that you go through with meditation. But you'll notice that when you're in extremes, when you're, for instance, sleeping, you often have very slow, deep breathing, and when you're panicking, you have very short, sharp breaths. And that it's much better to have calm breathing, because it controls the energy flow within you. And so much of meditation is about the control of your breath. Breath is like the life force, the energy that flows in and out of you. So yeah, I find that really useful. And what else? Sometimes I'll also have reminders of things that raise my vibrations throughout the day. So when I have 5 minutes between meetings, or if I'm writing a document, I'll often play music. I often play my own music, partly because I don't really listen to the songs more than once or twice, and so because I write so many each day, so I find that really good way. Get half an hour of writing a document, and I can just kind of have that background noise to calm, listen to some nice high vibration music. The other thing is just search up some music on YouTube, like a meditation video or something that will help you calm and ground as you're working, and help take that stress away. And the other thing is having boundaries. In addition to keeping yourself calm through chaos, it's also really good to work through the aspects of follow your intuition and follow what makes sense for you, and be honest about it with people when you're working and sometimes things don't resonate with you. Say it. And something we don't really talk much about in our day-to-day business is how it feels. And I tend to use that language quite a lot in my work. I say things like, I would love it if. I often say quite empowering terms like I will or we will. And I also, when I'm describing a situation and my reaction to it, I will explain to the person, I feel that, so for example, I might say, I feel that that statements could be more specific, or I feel that you're annoyed with me. Could you talk to me more about it? Or I have, I feel that you've done an amazing job, and I really want to, just celebrate that with you just now. Excuse me. So, there's lots of ways to think about how you work in your day-to-day, job of interactions. And then, of course, there's the kind of ultimate decision that we all face at some point in our lives. And I know many people that have been on their awakening journeys. They've often, changed partners, they've changed jobs, they've moved house, and I've stayed in the same job through my same day job through the last 5+ years, and when I look back at myself through that journey. I'm certainly a very different person to what I used to be, and of course the job has changed, but I've also been able to integrate a lot more of me into it. So I've done things like if someone wants a song for like an event, it could be a birthday, someone joining the company, it could be celebrating someone's success, I'll just offer to write them a song. I can often do it before work plus my song. It's a bit of a squeeze, but if I do my song quite quick and then do theirs, like, it can make a big thing. And what I'm trying to do there is like lead by example and say, look, here's a passion of mine. I'm not claiming to be the best musician in the world, and I'm also not going to obsess about whether you think it's my best song ever. But I really love music and I want to share it with you, and to use my gift to celebrate someone's success. So I enjoy doing that. I also do things like when we're in the office, it's been a couple of years now, but when we're back in the office again, I just play music. We often have regular get-togethers, so that's great fun. And also, I encourage people to like just visit my YouTube channel. Like when I meet people for the first time, or when I find out they're a YouTuber or a musician, I'll say, look, here's my channel. Please do. And I think they're often surprised. They see a whole new dimension to me, from when they work with me through to like, and they see the whole of me. And I think that's a big part of being our authentic selves, is when we're working our day jobs as well as going on exploring new kind of career paths as well. There's so many aspects to us, from our logical mind and our careers through to the hobbies and the passions that we follow. And I also think that everyone that we see day to day and that we interact with, everyone's going on their own journey, and it's hard, right? It's a hard time to be a human on this ever-changing planet, and so many people are just focusing on just getting by, just getting through the day, just getting on to being, to being and existing. And so you never know if when you're interacting with someone, how far they are on in their own spiritual journey. And so you can imagine things like, just a couple of years ago, I was pretty quiet about the whole thing. It was that was before I started doing things like John Talks. I kind of hid myself and my spiritual beliefs in my music, and I know quite a few creators that do that. You just hide the aspects that people might judge you for. So that's a really good way, is to think of everyone being in their own journey, and as part of that, just be able to say, look, they may be way further on than they're showing, or they're talking about, and you leading by example, you saying, here's the whole me, here's the kind of more esoteric kind of woo-woo aspects of my personality, my creative sides, and my darkness and everything in between. The more you share the whole of you, the more you encourage the others to do the same, to show the whole of them, every aspect of them. And often I get asked in my day job, John, how'd you write the song every day? How'd you squeeze that in addition to a busy day job? And I just talk about many of the same principles that I use in my day job, like being able to prioritize my work. I prioritize my music over a long sleep. I I sleep for 5 or 6 hours in a night, and most time that's fine, and just sometimes I need a bit more. I'll maybe nap a bit at the weekends, but as I've got older, I feel like I need less sleep, especially since I stopped drinking. I don't need as much sleep. And yeah, prioritization is really helpful for just figuring out how much time I should be investing in what in my day. And it also helps me get that work-life balance. Prioritization. It's very easy to work long hours, work too many hours, work too hard. And just like a song, if I spent 1,000 hours on a song, I would suspect that it would be diminishing returns, that it wouldn't be a great use of my time, and that towards the end, quite likely the song would be worse than it was within its first few hours of creation. And so I think that's a really interesting way of thinking about our day jobs, is focus on being productive and being authentic with yourself and telling other people how you feel. That's so important, far more important than the hours you work. And I still work 50 hours plus a week in my day job, but I find it really useful to continually reflect on how to prioritize, how to think about why am I in that job. And I did have a beautiful reading from a one-to-one session with Jenny at the Starseed Academy, and she touched on a couple of things in the reading. One was that I'll be in the job for as long as it's right. That's quite a right for me, and that's quite a different message that I've heard from many people, where they've often just left their jobs because it just doesn't align with what they're trying to achieve. And yet there's a big part of me that feels like, for the time that I'm in this day job, that I will that the part of my mission is to be there to help set up a kind of strong future for the work that the company does, in particular around the ethics and the diverse aspects of people. And so that I find that really rewarding way of looking at my work, that I'm building a legacy, and it's not really through the systems or the processes or the tools. It's the people that I am developing. I'm coaching them, I'm leading them to really challenge themselves to continually raise their standards on doing the right thing for everyone in the world, and doing the right thing for the planet. And what I love about that is it's very rewarding. I think it's a really good way of looking at everything we do in our lives, from what we eat to what we buy, what we consume. These are all really important aspects and important judgments to make. And yeah, what was the other thing? Yeah, she also, Jenny also gave this advice, which was about just being able to, really think about the effects that you're having on the people around you. And when you do that, and to consider things like there are likely several other people around you. The more people you work with, the more people in your company, the more customers that you're with, the more likely it is there's people around you that are going through or will go through soon their awakening journey. And seeing someone living your life the way you do is inspiring to them. And not to hide it away, not to hide away the aspects that your skills and superpowers that you're developing. And I think there's also an increasing use of language that's really helpful in business. So things like talking about business judgment, high judgment, following your good instincts. These are not new kind of new age spiritual words. These are phrases that have been used for a long time. I often think about like the kind of TV shows for police, and they talk about, you know, following a hunch, or a detective will follow a hunch, and these are all really, really important aspects of the way we work. And you know, you can't teach people your instincts or your intuition, but you can teach them how to use their own, and, you know, lead by example, help them through the challenges that they're having by, you know, helping them ask themselves the questions about how that feels, how it resonates with them. You know, are they thinking around the corners? Like what is motivating them in their decision making, and to reflect on that. Oh, so much. Oh, and so I think I jumped about a bit, just to cover off the kind of last point, which is that, you know, a lot of people will eventually just realize that their job isn't right for them, and that they'll change job or move, or kind of leave an industry, or, you know, give up full-time work and do something much more, you know, much more kind of fifth dimension, like, you know, working for yourself, being your own boss. And many aspects of that appeal to me, and I believe it is inevitable for me in time. And so one thing I'm doing is, I don't know when it will happen, but I'm just working through kind of planning for that, and it helps me kind of prioritize and have gratitude for all the things I have in my life. You know, one thing we're thinking about doing is just reducing, you know, our mortgage by on our house by, you know, getting a smaller house, or you know, renting out houses and living in others. I think I covered this in the previous podcast a bit, but and also just thinking about the outgoings, and, you know, planning, like, what would I need to sustain myself, at least in the short term. And the other really interesting aspect is, you know, there's a lot. There's a lot of similarities of just on-the-job training when it comes to exploring your kind of spiritual careers. So when I think of things like darkness clearing, you know, I think that's a whole episode in its own right. But what I really found with that is that there's not really, and many of these things no one's ever done before, or if they are doing them, they're doing them in very different ways to how you will do it. And when you're creating a new paradigm, there's no one there to teach you. You learn on the job, and so just go and do it, right? That's what I did. I think I've done over 10 sessions now, and I just started with a kind of network of friends to just help them and help me learn how to kind of develop my gift. And also, you know, I've set up a way of being paid. So if people want to donate, or if they want to pay me for a session, they can. So far, it's all been free, but it's like opening up that door, so that the door is there and it's open, and I'm doing the work, and then just seeing what happens over time. So yeah, I hope that helps. It really helps me talking as I'm walking, and I'd like to send my love to you. I hope this podcast finds you well, and yeah, send the love from Scotland. Thank you. I love you.